All right, guys, I'm fucking nervous.
I'm nervous.
We're nervous. We're in the hot seat.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Influence Me. I am super excited to be back. I know I took a little bit of a break. I always say that, I'm starting to understand that, I'm not going to really say I'm going to post every week. I'm just going to come on here. When I have an episode, I'll just let you guys know. Today, I'm super excited because I have two wonderful, nice, crazy guests with us today. Blanca and Jonathan in the motherfucking house.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I don't know which camera to look
I
at,
know,
but
like,
I'm looking at all of them just in case.
So that one's your guys' camera. That one's the wide, and this one's mine.
Okay, bet.
Period.
Thank you guys for being here.
No, thank you, man, for having us. What's up, guys? We're in LA. Well, we're in LA like once a month, but I like to go to different places, so it's nice.
Yeah, we are so honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
guys.
having
I know you guys have like a super busy weekend, and I mean it's super early in the morning. I know you guys can tell my chinky eyes right now. Like, I'm not used to being up this early, but I'm like, dude, I'm super happy you guys are here.
Oh, thank you.
And I've been knowing you guys I talked to you on Peronoche's wedding, but I first met you guys in Laura Victor's birthday party. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that's the first day I met what's his name? Jorge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I started looking you guys up and because you had mentioned that you guys had a podcast, and at that time I wanted to start one. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go check him out.
I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna go check this guy out. And dude, you guys talk about a lot of deep stuff. Like you guys are on that. Like
It gets real, huh?
How did that come about? Like the idea of a podcasting, because that's what interests me. Like my thing was like motivating people, and my thing's like more motivation type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like what was the story behind your guys' idea?
The podcast was Jonathan's idea, all of it, because he had wanted to start one years ago. I think, which one was the first one you listened to? Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
Okay, yeah.
And so he had been wanting to start it, and we started it, when was it, babe? 2020?
No, 2019. December of 2019. I was about to be COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, I would just show up. Like, this was his baby.
She didn't want to do it. I had to force her. She's like, because podcasts were so fresh. Like, I think the first time I said podcast to you,
I'm like, what is a podcast?
What is that?
Yeah.
And so I was like, babe, just sit down. Like, I bought this little $100 Yeti mic for the both of us in the middle. The videos are still there if you guys want to go scroll all the way down. They're really funny. But I was like, yeah, like, come do this. She's like, I don't get it. Like, people just want to hear us talk. I was like, fuck it. I had a little instinct. I was like, I love podcasts. I was like, people need something on their way to work, on their way back from work to school. It's like music sometimes gets boring.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I listen to all music, and I was like, sometimes I'm tired of it. So that's when I found podcasts, and I was like, yeah, this shit's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he came up with everything, honestly. And the whole microphone thing, I didn't know anything, so I would just show up. And still to this day, like he sets everything up and I just show up to talk.
Yeah.
But
And what about the concept? Like the concept behind the idea? What did you see that you're like, I want to jump in this space? Like did you know you were gonna have this much success in podcasting?
So basically, I would say like this gift I have. It's like an inside joke we have with my family and friends. I say that every time I meet someone or every time I'm in a social space, siempre me agarran de therapist. I do not know why. People, they open up immediately to me. I'll have people like in 30 minutes like cry, like tear up and start telling me like their life story, the way their father passed away or something, and it's always like the other day her grandpa came to visit, and he's like a tough Mexican, old school man, and while the women are cooking and stuff like that, me and him are having a conversation, and I'm just listening, and he starts tearing up talking about how his he never met his dad, and he left him, and I was like, damn, like. And I'm not the type to ask, like, tell me your life story. I'm a good listener. And I feel like I was like, you know what, babe, there's a lot of people, especially in the Latino community, they need like an ear, like where people can submit their stories, remain anonymous, and just get genuine advice. And what I told her and what I tell everyone's like, we're only going to give advice on things that we've been through. Like before we would get a lot of questions about parenting and stuff like that. And we're like, we're not there yet. We're not ready. We had our baby. Okay, now we can dip our foot in that pool, But then they ask us about like teenage kids, and we're like, nope, we're not there yet, So it's only stuff that we've kind of been through.
And I think it's the tone of your voice too. Like you kind of have like this calm, zen type of
monotone
tone.
voice.
Like kind of chill.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, was it weird for you in the beginning? Was it something that, because you come from a totally different background, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how was that?
I think it was different because I genuinely didn't know that people would want to sit there and talk or listen to us talk for an hour. But something that I think Jonathan didn't touch on is before we did YouTube anything, like just when I met him, he's always been so eager to help out the Hispanic community. And he doesn't know how, but he always wanted to do something to help out in their physical and mental health, because that area, I feel like we're not strong in that area, you know? So he's always had this goal of helping at least one person. And I think this is when it happened, because I think one of the first podcasts was about mental health, and like depression and all of that. And then we like kind of went into people telling us their confessions and like reacting to them. And that is one of the biggest reasons why we started and why I went along with it, because we wanted to help, you know, and to be an ear, because I feel like in the Hispanic community, getting therapy is so out of the question. Like they would
what is that? I don't need that.
Exactly. Like, so I'm like, if at least they can tell us and we can be a listening ear to them and tell them our 2 cents and it can help them at least a little bit, that's going to be good. So that's why I decided to go along with it, because I wanted to be there with him.
And you touch on a good point when you say like either the machista or like our culture or like our parents have that stigma of like, you know, guys don't cry. That. Dude, I tell everyone right now, like I'm emotional like a motherfucker. I cry all the time. Like if I'm happy, I cry. If I'm sad, I cry. Like I like to share my emotions with people that are around me too. Just that way they know that it's okay to once in a while just be like, you know what? I'm having a bad day today. I need to let my emotions out. I don't want to keep this shit in. Like, I don't want this to be balled in, and later on I'm going to explode on someone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's cool that you guys are doing that. And I can tell that you guys are super genuine when you guys talk about things. Mm-hmm. I see also that sometimes you guys get backlash for shit that you say. Is that scary sometimes? Like to put your guys' self out there or your opinions, and then for other people to kind of take it the wrong way, or you know what I mean, like twist it in a way, because now with TikTok there's like a bunch of clips that just grab stuff and it's like kind of, you know what I mean, like just for clickbait or for clout and shit, you know.
I don't think it's scary now, because we have pretty thick skin and we know what we said, and if you took it the wrong way, okay, like we can't what is it called, we can't control that. And Jonathan, he just, like I've always said, he's so sure about himself and how he thinks and what he says, that he has taught me, if someone doesn't like what I say, if someone doesn't like my opinion, like that's nobody's problem. You know, not everyone's gonna like me. So sometimes like Jonathan will say something, because he's very outspoken and he doesn't sugarcoat anything. So people in the comments will be like, so what you're trying to say is this and this and this. And then Jonathan's like, no, it's not, but whatever. Like if you took it that way, I'm not gonna defend myself, you know?
Right.
So I don't think it's scary, but it's kind of funny sometimes, because I'm like, oh, if you look at it that way, that does sound kind of messed up, you know? But at this point, we know, I know he's sure of himself, and I am confident that the way that he says things is how he means it, and if people misinterpret it, that's on them.
And it's your opinion. It's
exactly
like what you genuinely
and
feel.
It's not like we're saying what we think is correct,
right?
You know? I'm like, no, this is just, we always say it, and we're no experts. Like we're just trying to, you know, help you a little bit.
And it looks like you guys have like that nice chemistry online, and I know it's separate from like your private life. How did you guys meet? How was that like for you guys? How you guys been together for a long time?
Yeah, we've been together for a minute now. 2014.
Yeah.
We were both sophomores. No, were we freshmen going into sophomore? Or sophomores into
junior?
Junior?
Sophomores into junior.
Yeah, something like that. And I was super focused in school and sports and stuff like that. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend at all at the time. I didn't even have any interest in, you know, finding like a partner. I think that summer, the summer I met her, I went and toured Stanford University, because that was my dream to go there. So I actually visited the campus and stuff like that. So I was like a straight A student, but through mutual friends we met, and well, that's the story. That's a wrap, you know, like we both fell in love and stuff like that. But everything happens for a reason, man, because like, sure, I feel like regardless, it's not me being cocky or trying to sound like a douchebag. I want to say my future, because of the way I set myself, would have been bright regardless, right? Hopefully, in terms of like how much effort I can put in through school, through academics, I would have, you know, maybe had a good career.
Right.
But I don't think I would have impacted the lives I could have, being that mechanical engineer, being that I wanted to be like a petroleum engineer or something like that.
Right.
So it's like I wouldn't have impacted or helped my community as much if I wouldn't have met my wife.
Right.
You know, because like she in high school, like she'll tell you about, you know, not bullied, but people would kind of make fun of her because she would upload videos on YouTube. You know, we're talking 2014 with 5 views, you know, so people would kind of smirk at her and stuff. So it's like now they want to be friends, you know, so it's like props to her. And the only reason we're here is because of her, you know?
Yeah. So like, I wanted to ask you, like, I really don't like to do, which is probably a bad thing, research on people, because I really want to know, and maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot because maybe you guys spoke about it, or maybe other people, you know, like when they come on. But I genuinely, like, when I meet someone, I'm like, dude, I like to have people here because I really want to know about them.
Yeah.
And I want to know what inspired you to start YouTube, you know, that career, because it's like he's saying, if you're getting bullied for that, it's kind of hard when you have negative people around you to continue to stay positive. And if you have a goal, like where are you getting that strength from to continue that?
Yeah. I would say one of my strongest foundations was built on my mom. She supported everything and anything I did. She did not know what YouTube was, but she made me confident in that way. If I wanted to do something, I could do it because I had her on my back, knowing that she was going to be there for support. So when I started watching YouTube, it was like the OGs, like Bethany Moda. I'm sure a lot of people don't even know about them now, but it was the people that actually started it. And it was so unreachable for me because you were seeing these girls doing like morning routines, getting Starbucks every day. And I remember in 2014, 2013, Starbucks was such a luxury. It was like a once a month type of thing, you know? So seeing these videos, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then the vlogs started coming out and I was like, oh, for me, I've always been a person that takes pictures, takes videos. Like I will ruin a moment. I'm like, wait, let me take a picture, you know? I've always been like that. And when I saw that vlogs were popping up, I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like just record my day and upload it on YouTube. And at this time it was vlogs and then also like friendships that would make a YouTube channel together and then they would just do funny things. So I would say my first YouTube video was probably me singing because según yo, I wanted to be a singer, right?
We're gonna fucking do some karaoke.
No, I'm serious. Like that was probably my first video, me singing some type of song. And then my second video was with one of my friends, Julia. I filmed like a best friend tag. Because were you around, or were you watching YouTube when there were the tags, like boyfriend tag? So that was it. And then nobody had that in them. Like they're like, that's kind of weird, you know? So then I just branched off on my own and I just started. My first video on my channel that is private now is 10 facts about me. I'm like, nobody cares anymore. I privated that. So I just started uploading. And for me, I would never go and just go and be like, oh yeah, I have a YouTube. But sometimes I would vlog and people are like, oh, what is this for? I'm like, oh, for my YouTube channel. And they'd be like, what? Like, you're weird, you know, because but not everybody had a YouTube channel back then. And that's how I started. I never felt ashamed or embarrassed because for me it was, I'm gonna have these memories forever, and what better than to put it on YouTube just in case, you know. My end goal was never, oh, I want to become this famous influencer. My goal was, oh, I just want to have these YouTube videos forever. And it took me like 4 years of uploading to 20 subscribers to like actually pop off, you know.
Shit. And what was that? What was their particular video
my video that went, I would say kind of viral, was Get Ready With Me for a Quinceañera, featuring my Mexican playlist. Yeah, and it was crazy because I uploaded that in October of 2017.
And
yeah,
didn't do good till February, right?
Yeah, so October 2017, upload that video, 10 views, whatever. I was used to it. January of 2018, I just get like notifications saying that I'm getting views, I'm getting subscribers, I'm getting comments.
We were at the gym.
Yeah.
And she was on the treadmill and I was walking by. She's like, babe. And I was like, I thought someone died or something, you know? I was like, what? I take my headphones off. She's like, come here. She's like, my YouTube, like it's going crazy. Like
I have 200 views on this video. And that day just kept going to the point that from that video alone, I got 10,000 subscribers. And so people in the comments were, hey, I need you to upload more Mexican playlist, because my thing was like, oh, I listen to this when I'm heartbroken, because Jonathan and I, a little brief backstory that probably everybody knows, we were in a toxic relationship, would on and off. So I would put on Julian Alvarez every weekend that we broke up and just sing my heart out. Right. So that is what my playlists were based on. So I think that I reached a lot of people that way. And yeah, sure enough, I uploaded my just like a Mexican playlist in a car, and then that pops off too, you know. And then there was an article made on me about that video.
Damn. You're popping.
Yeah, so it was crazy. For a lot of people, like 500, 600K views might not be viral, but going from 5 views to 500K views
But
in
at the
a
time
month,
also, that's a lot.
that is a lot.
At the time, that was a lot.
Back then, yeah.
Back then, because it wasn't normal to have a YouTube channel, you know. Now I feel like it's more normalized. So that's when I popped off in 2018, and I just kept creating the content that people wanted to see. And I was kind of more in the relatable sense that I was living with my parents. I had to clean the bathroom to go out, and I would vlog that. I'd be like, oh, my mom's not going to let me go out unless I clean the bathroom, unless I wash the dishes, you know. And being relatable in that sense, I think that's what brought me more followers. And that's what made me pop off.
How was that? Like you mentioned before, when you were barely starting off, like people were kind of giving you that kind of weird smirk and stuff. But then when you started popping, like, how was that? Was it hard to, you know what I mean? Like now your friends or people that you know are coming up to you. How was that situation like?
For me, I've always been a friends girl. Like I love having friends and I love everybody. Like if I talk to you once, I'm like, oh, you're my friend and I want to talk to you more, you know? So when people started doing that, at first I was like, oh, they think I'm cool now, you know, because I've always been the kind of outsider in friend groups. Nobody really cared about me. So when people started giving me attention like that, I was like, oh, they think I'm cool now. And then being with Jonathan and like the way that he made me see things, it's like, oh, they don't think you're cool. They want what you have, but they were bullying you, weren't they? And I'm like, yeah. And I've always seen the best in people, no matter what they do to me. And Jonathan and my mom, because they're both Geminis, they always tell me, why do you only see the best in people when they've hurt you, they've mistreated you? And so having him balances me out. So all these people were just being nice to my face, and then behind my back they were like, oh, well, I want to know how she got here, how she did this. But I'm like, you don't see the 4 years of work that I put into this, you know? So it was kind of hard, but I kind of just brushed it off. Like, you know.
What about in terms of work after high school? You guys it was just straight?
Oh, no. In high school, I was working at Dairy Queen. It's an ice cream shop. I loved my job. It was so fun. And when I started doing YouTube, like not full time, but when I started making money on YouTube, I was a medical assistant at a private clinic for women. And that is my favorite job. If I wasn't doing YouTube right now, I would be still there at that clinic. So what had happened in that sense was when I started making more on YouTube than I did at the clinic, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to put my 2 weeks in. But before that, we were working it was Dairy Queen, Buffalo Wild Wings. I had
a different job every 3 months.
Oh, shit.
Because little do I know, I don't like people telling me what to do in a bad way. You know, I'll take, orders, criticism because it's part of life.
Yeah.
But just in a bad way. So every time, nope, I quit.
Yeah. So you had way more jobs than me.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't like straight from nothing to YouTube. We were always working jobs.
And how were you in school? Like you mentioned you had straight A's and stuff. Like, how were you though?
The complete opposite. Like
no, you weren't that. You weren't also like bad.
I was, so it's crazy because Jonathan grew up in a family where, his mom graduated college, and she knows all the benefits. She steered him in a right path, and it was very on that because she knew how good education was. And for me, my parents didn't have education like past middle school, I think. So for me, my parents were always supporting what I wanted to do. Like they would push college on me, but if I didn't want to, they were never like, you have to go to college. So I was just, I was like, if I'm getting A's and B's, it's fine. And Jonathan was honors, honors classes, advanced classes, taking college classes. I was like, whatever, my regular classes, passing them, So my only goal was to graduate high school, to make my family proud, and to graduate it with good grades. But honestly, I just think high school is the easiest thing that you can do, like graduating. So it wasn't hard, but I wasn't like honors or anything. Yeah,
and it's so crazy thinking about it right now. Like I have kids as well,
Yeah.
And it's like every kid is different, and then every like parent's different.
Yes.
It's crazy how you're saying like your family didn't come from that background of like graduating and stuff like that. And then you became an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
They supported that.
Yeah.
And then you're saying that your parents instilled more of the education, and you still became an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So it's like it was there a lot of pressure on you as well from your parents?
yeah.
Maybe something that you didn't want to do, or was there some sort of grudge towards your parents because you're like, this is not the type of person that I want to be? I don't know. Were you that?
Yeah, I told my parents, like, in a nice way, I'm like, all you gave me was stress and debt. Because
Shit.
I had a full ride to my CU, the University of Colorado, but I took a year off for my mental health and to work. But when I tried coming back, those scholarships didn't apply no more, and I didn't know that. They never notified me before I left the year. So I went to school handy dandy, and then when I'm applied to spring, they're like, hey, you need to pay the fall. And I was like, pay it? And they're like, yeah, it's gonna be $17,000. And I wasn't even living there. It would have been like 25 grand if I had been living there for one semester, half a year. So I was like, no, I'm out. Like, where are my scholarships? Oh, you took a year off, you don't get them anymore. I was like, okay, then I'm out. I can't afford that, you know. So I was like, oh, all you guys gave me was stress and debt. You know, I told my family all that all the time. I was like, so yeah, it's everything's about perspective, because now that we have our son, you would think, because I was steered through college, through all that, I would be the same way. And I tell Blanca, I was like, it's so funny because I feel like we're the opposite. Blanca's like gonna be like, you know, at least finish high school, gets you good grade. Me, even though my mom has a master's degree, all this, all that, as long as my son gets good grades, he can do whatever he wants. And if he doesn't want to go to college, I'm not gonna pressure him to.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to do like whatever, con que, like, he's a good kid and he has a good heart and he's a good person and wants to help this world and leave a good footprint, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I believe for Jonathan, it was kind of, it wasn't hard because he came from a good, stable family, I would say, and he had the choice to go to college and he had the grades, and his mom, I think since little, put you into a charter school where you were like she set him up for success. And for me, college wasn't an option for me because it was so expensive and it was like unreachable almost. So I had to go kind of into survival mode, like, okay, how am I gonna make it out, you know? So going from Dairy Queen all the way to a medical assistant job, you know? And for Jonathan, it was like he had so many options, but he was so pressured into going to school that at the end of the day, he didn't even finish.
It turned me off.
You know?
You know?
And I'm sure you would have graduated college had you gone to do what you love, like playing soccer, you know? So it's just crazy how the pressure, and a lot of parents don't always see it that way, because I'm sure his mom always did it from a good heart. She wanted him to have a successful future. And my mom always supported me and my dreams because she wanted me to have a successful future as well. So it's like you can go about it two different ways, but get the same outcome, you know?
So basically what I always tell people, and we like to share our stories, and I always like to share my story, and I like to share it, but I know sometimes it can come off of like, I know a lot of people might be thinking like, oh, he's just showing off that he was smart and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, because at the end of the day, you like what I always give props to my suegra, and I always tell her, I was like, thank you, you know, you doing all this, like, it's like she let her daughter express herself. And because she let her daughter express herself and be herself, we are where we're at now. She was confident enough to like let her daughter pick up a camera and vlog and stuff like that. Whereas like if I would have vlogged, my mom's a great person and I love her, but say I was vlogging and it was taking attention away from school, she would be like, hey, what the hell is that? Like, drop the camera, man. You like, go, you know, you got a test to study for. She wouldn't have let me be me, like express myself. So I think at the end of the day, and this is what a lot of like our influencer friends that are having babies now, they ask us for advice and like stuff like that. I'm like, you just got to let your kid express themselves, because if you don't let them express themselves young and early, they're going to be doing that shit when they're older, when they're like, you know, because my mom never let me play video games when I was young, especially bloody ones. So what do I do now when I'm almost 25? Like I'm 25. I'm like there, but it's because my mom never let me get it out when I was 15, 16 with my friends. So it's like everything comes back no matter how old you get, you know?
Yeah. And it's crazy how you're talking about, like, for instance, your mom probably, she was like that, right? You said that she did it with great intention, but maybe she went through something on her life that made her be like, no, you have to. I went through all this shit, so you have to do this because I know what it's like, right? And then your parents, I feel that it's tough because, like, for instance, not everyone is gonna have your work ethic. So where I get curious is like, where did you get that work ethic? What did you go through growing up? What did you see for you to have that work ethic and discipline, because it's
Yeah.
not you. I can be like that with my kids. Everyone can just get that recipe of like, oh, let them express themselves.
Yeah.
But not everyone's gonna have that work ethic. Someone's gonna be like, ah, shit, my mom lets me do whatever I want. I can just chill.
Yeah.
What did you go through, or what did you see growing up that made you have that discipline?
That is such a good question. And it was my mom. I thank my mom for everything, but my mom, her work ethic is crazy. She started working, what'd she say, like 15 or even younger, cleaning houses, just whatever she could to bring money to the house. And she's been like that throughout our whole life. When I was little, she worked every day, and for me it was kind of sad because I wanted my mom to take me to school and pick me up, but it was harder, so my brother would do it. And the not inside joke, but how Jonathan and I sometimes joke is that we kind of had to struggle in the sense that we didn't have our parents because they would work a lot, and my sisters now, like, they have it all, but it's like they're struggling to like go in the right path, in a sense, you know?
Right.
So it's like my mom was always working, always helping out the household. And another thing is that money was always an issue. Like, and we knew that it was when I was probably in high school and I started knowing about like college applications and all of that. I knew like college applications were $100 each or something. And I couldn't do it, not because I couldn't go to college, but it's because I couldn't afford those applications. Right. And as soon as I turned 15, I started looking for jobs. And when I turned 16, it was kind of hard because I knew that I was not born here and what that meant. I didn't know that I wasn't going to be able to work. So thankfully I have DACA and I'm able to work with Social Security now. But as soon as I got it, like, I started working wherever it was. And if I loved doing sports, but if that, didn't let me work, it was kind of hard because I needed the money, you know, I needed to pay my phone bill ever since I was little, you know. So just knowing all these struggles that we had and how my mom she always put on a good face for us. She made work fun. She wanted to go to work. She had fun at work. She made her life fun even though there were struggles. So it's just seeing my mom do that, knowing where she came from, knowing what she had to do to bring us here. I was like, I'm going to retire my mom. Like, that is my goal. I'm going to take care of her financially for the rest of her life, whatever I have to do. And I would have done it if I was a medical assistant. It would have been harder because it's not a lot of money. But when I started to see the money that YouTube was bringing in, I was like, girl, I need to start doing this. And I never said, oh, I want this and this and this. No, I'm going to do it for my mom. At the first time I got like a $2,000 paycheck, $1,000 to my mom, you know, and I was still paying rent and I was still paying like 2 bills in the house, you know, so everything that I've ever done has been for my mom.
What does she think now of what you accomplished?
She thinks it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's so proud of me, and she also thinks it's crazy because she doesn't understand that because of how she was and how she let me express myself and how she made me confident. That's why I'm here. It's not just because I did it. It's because of how she raised me, you know.
How do your parents feel right now that you decided to go the route of YouTube and not, and like, was that a conversation that?
Yeah, it was tough. At the beginning, it was tough because when I left school, Lolo me puse las pilas. I got my CDL license, so I became a truck driver. And then my dad was always, you know, business, like, get your own truck, buy your own truck, do this. And I was like, but social media is popping off. And then, I don't know, one day it just hit them. It hit them one day. My dad calls me. He's like, hey, it was so random. He's like, trucks are always going to be here. You know, truck driving is always going to be here no matter when you're 30, 40. You can always go back to truck driving. But the social media thing doesn't last forever, or doesn't. He saw it as in like when you're young, when you're old and wrinkly, no one's going to watch you on YouTube. So he's like, you can be old and wrinkly driving trucks, but that YouTube thing's way harder, you know? So he's like, go for it, man. Like, because I was contemplating quitting my job. He's like, you know, quit, you know, do it. Like, al cabo siempre va a haber trocas para manejar, you know? Siempre van a haber dumpes, side dumps, all that. So at first they were very against it, but then they became supportive.
Jumping in YouTube, the YouTube space, was it scary too, though? Because it's a new platform, right? Mm-hmm. There's maybe some things in your mind. There's like, shit, how long is this gonna last? Mm-hmm. Is this a career that I want to like take for a long time? Like, how long? Was there any thoughts on that too? Like, is there a backup plan, or was there like, you know what, I'm gonna do this career thing for 5 years? Like, what was the ideal plan for you guys when you guys just decided to just go 100%?
I think something I heard somewhere, it was probably a podcast when I started listening to them, is that why do you need a plan B? Why don't you just go full force plan A, and you're not gonna let it mess up, you're not gonna let it fall apart. And I'm like, oh, that's when it clicked to me. It's like, I don't have to be always thinking, oh well, if YouTube goes down, I'm gonna get a job, like, because as Jonathan said, jobs are always going to be here. Any job is gonna be here. YouTube, if we have the opportunity now, let's do it, you know. So for me, that was the number one thing that always stuck in my head. It's like, I don't need a plan B. I'm just gonna stick to plan A and make it work. Because I think that's what my mom made me. It's like, I have to go survival mode. So it's like, okay, let's go. Full force.
And sometimes, our parent, like for instance, my mom would be like, ¿Qué va a pasar si no se hace? And I'm like, oh, I always say, I heard a saying before, which like burn the boats.
Yeah.
And like, that's basically what I've been doing. It's like, whatever it is, like, even like there's another one where it's like, well, if you want to buy a new car, you have to get rid of the car that was on the parking lot. That way the new car fits. You know what I mean? So it's like those things that motivate you, or those things that you believe in. That's one of the biggest things that I tell everyone. Is like, if you have belief in yourself and you know what you're capable of doing, then do it. Because you're not going to find out unless you don't do it. And then like what you're saying earlier about, I noticed that you kind of are hesitant in saying like that you're confident in yourself, or because you don't want people to misinterpret and people to think that you're cocky. I hate that sometimes we have to do that. I'm that type of person where I believe 100% in what I want to do, but that's because I know myself, you know. And there's things that I'm like, okay, fuck, that's gonna maybe take me a little bit longer, so I'm not gonna really dab into that right now. I'm gonna set myself up for that. But then this thing, I'm super confident I can achieve this. I know I can get to this place, but it sucks that sometimes we have to kind of shy down to make other people not feel bad. You know what I mean? It's like my success or whatever that I'm doing, you shouldn't feel less of a person because of what I'm doing or because of what I say. Like, if you are happy in what you want to do, then there shouldn't be any sort of bad feelings for us. And we should always support each other as family, as friends. You know, like when I look at you guys, I'm not looking at you guys as a competition because you guys have a podcast and I have a podcast. I'm looking at you guys as an inspiration and motivation for me to continue. So it's like, I look at people in a positive way, but because I'm confident in myself that I know that I can hopefully one day get there as well, you know? But it sucks that we have to be like that with everyone out there just because they misinterpret, what we feel and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm just on a screen. Like, we're all the same human being, the same daughter, son, whatever, but I'm just on your TV screen. Like, it doesn't put, like, same with movie stars. Like, they all shit. They all, cry, have family problems. Like, they're just on a screen. You know what I mean? So
you guys mentioned you guys had a little rough start in the beginning. Obviously, when anyone has a relationship, starts a relationship, fucking toxicos and shit, always jealousy and fucking all this shit, what was there a moment where you guys were like, you know what, fuck, we need to stop fucking around, like, dude, come on, like, let's fucking just sit the fuck down, we're grown as fuck, like, let's just fucking get our shit together. Like, what was that made you guys realize that? Was it age? Was it the baby? What was it?
No, it was a while ago. Luckily, we started young, so we matured young, like quickly. We'd been fucking around for like 5 years, and like me, I take all the blame. Blanca, like I say, if I was a more confident human being, no machista, maybe not even Mexican, I like to say, because Mexican problems and stuff like that, we would have probably had the best relationship, the most perfect relationship in human existence. Because Blanca, I'm not trying to put her on a pedestal, but like, damn, was she perfect? And problems didn't start until I made her like go through shit, But so the specific time that you're kind of asking is, I came back, I moved to Texas. I moved to work in the oil fields, and I saw some shit. I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. The money's good, whatever, but no, we were broken up. I was like, I miss my girl, I miss my family. What the fuck I was like, at 3 a.m, I was on a 26-hour shift. 3 a.m, I'm looking at the stars because there's no clouds or anything. I'm like, there's guys like fucking doing coke, like just trying to stay up, 5 Red Bulls, whatever. And I'm like, what the, give me trae acá? ¿Qué me conviene? ¿Qué me importa estar acá? Away from my ex, from my family. I have a good life. And I'm over here fucking knees deep in fucking muck and shit. Like, I was like, nah. And the next day I called my dad. I was like, fuck this, dad. Like, I'm not a pussy, but I know that I can tough this work out, but I know I can do better in Colorado, like back where I was, you know? So I started going to therapy. I actually did therapy, like professionally. Wow. I evaluated my problems, my insecurities. I started reaching back out to her and I was like, let's fix this. I'm like, I'm changed. I got therapy. Now, two therapy sessions in, I'm all changed, man. No, but I went to therapy for a while and then boom, a few months later, I proposed. And ever since then, everything's been okay. I mean, we've had our rocky roads and up and downs, but but that's
little fight. Nothing compared to. Yeah.
How difficult was that for you to believe in someone that maybe hurt you in the past, or, you know, went through stuff with someone like, I know trust is super hard for a lot of people, you know, especially women. There's always that stigma of well, not stigma, but, you know, it's clear that a lot of relationships or problems in a relationship are due to like trust or insecurities, like you're saying. So like how was that for you to be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do this again and I believe in you? Like, what did you see in him that, or like, you know, fuck it, I'll give you another shot?
I was like, 10th shot, my boy. Like we've done this 20 times already. No, but for me, I always say this because growing up, I didn't have a good relationship with my dad. I didn't know what a love from a dad was. I didn't have a father figure. My father figure was kind of my brother. He took a lot of care of me. So when I meet Jonathan, and I had boyfriends before Jonathan, but it was like manita sudada vibes, like nothing compared to how serious it was when I met Jonathan. And when we started dating, I felt full force. What he felt to say at the beginning was that I pursued him and I wanted to, like, I would show up wherever he was, not in a crazy creepy vibe, but it was, I know, literally.
I'd be like, wait, how are you here?
I'm outside.
No, seriously, it was me. I saw him. I knew what I wanted. I was like, this is who I want and I'm gonna get him. I don't know how, with the Facebook post that TBH, like,
now all her friends were ghetto and shit, and then she sees this boy trying to make it out, you know, to Stanford. She's like, I want that one.
Yeah, because I guess, yes, because I had never seen a Hispanic guy that had all these goals, had all these morals, went to church, was a varsity soccer player. I'm like, damn.
Fucking Prince Charming over
dude,
here.
and he didn't go to my school, so he was such a mystery to me that I was like, I need to know who this is and I need to date him. And because with the guys that I knew, they all dropped out of high school. They didn't see anything going for them, you know. And for him, he had these Stanford goals. I was like, de aquí soy. Yeah. So I think that's why I was very easy to manipulate and gaslight, because when he started giving me love and attention, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is my standard, because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know anything better. So it was tough for me because we were in a toxic relationship for 4 or 5 years. So imagine that. I already knew I was walking on eggshells. I already knew we were going to break up again. I already knew we were going to go through all of this again. So for the last time, for him to come to me and tell me, no, like, this is it. What helped me was, at that moment, he talked to me when I had already gone through some self-reflection, kind of felt more sure about myself, more confident in myself. And I set boundaries with him. So he was super machista, super, you're not wearing that out, super, we're not going to this baile because these guys stare at you, super, you know, machista vibes, toxic vibes. And when we were going to try again, I told him, we said everything on the table. I was like, it was when my Peda el Sábado videos were popping off. So I'm like, if you don't want to go, fine, but I'm going to go by myself to the bailes. If you don't want me to wear this, I'm gonna wear it, you know? And it was like all of these things that I kind of pushed him to the extreme. Like, I would never do these things, but it's like, if I'm wearing a short dress, he doesn't feel comfortable, I'm not gonna be like, no, I'm going. I'm like, okay, you know? Yeah. But I was just kind of testing to him to see how much he had actually changed, because we hadn't seen each other in like 2 months. He was in Texas. It was, you know? So it was setting the boundaries and then seeing, like, it was a routine that we would get back together. In 2 weeks, he was already the same. Toxic, machista. Yeah. And so 2 weeks pass and he's fine. 3 weeks, a month, and I'm like, oh, maybe he did change. And after we got back together that time, we never had problems like that again. You know?
And the reason why I ask is because like I got in a relationship with my girlfriend. I've known her since we were 14, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So I was I was a fucking asshole when I was fucking young. You know, like I just didn't, we have these things that perhaps we see our uncles or our family, our friends or movies, and we just believe that we're like this fucking person, right?
Exactly.
And it takes us a while. I'm going to tell you, like as guys, it takes us a while for us to realize. And sometimes it takes for us to lose someone for us to realize, holy shit, like I really did have someone special. And I ask you this because there's probably a lot of people or a lot of girls that are going, or guys that are going through the same thing. And it's like, if you gave a person so many opportunities, how did you know, like that this was gonna work out? And and like you're saying, boundaries, putting your getting that confidence and your self-esteem back, and knowing and evaluating who you are as a woman and where you stand. That's what I feel that a lot of people should take from that, which is like I tell my daughter all the time, is like, you're the girl, like you're up here, like you're not gonna fucking take shit from anyone. Like I want her to be successful, independent, but I also want her to be loving and a wife, like I don't want her also to be like a fucking asshole with her man. Like I'm not trying to set that up for that poor guy, like fuck that. But I also want her to stand her ground and for her to understand like that she's worth something.
They're the prize.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, but it is tough. That's the reason why I brought it up. I want to make sure that everyone, that's watching gets value and understands that it is okay to give someone else an opportunity. There's some times where people might have, like, for instance, you that you're going through the machista thing, but there's other people that have alcoholism problems or drug problems.
Yes.
And sometimes people quit on them so easily, where it's like, and it sucks because it's really, really hard, because you do have your life and you do have like your path, and sometimes it's like, is this the right person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, because he keeps on doing this or whatever. It's not in your situation, but like drugs or whatever. So it's like, I just want people to know, like, just like you're saying, put boundaries, know what you're worth, and you're the prize and shit,
Another thing 100%. Is knowing that they're willing to work on it themselves, because the one thing that we've always said is that nobody's going to change because you want them to change. They're going to change if they want to change. And that was my mistake with Jonathan. I was like, if I keep nagging him, telling him, you need to change, you need to do this, you need to do that, he's going to be like, you're dumb, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. And he's going to be worse. And just seeing that he seeked therapy, that he went through some shit in Texas, knowing that he was putting in the work, that's what made me like, okay, maybe this time it is different and he deserves a second shot. And also because I was freaking in love with him, we weren't together for 2 months and I still thought about him. So, and that is another thing that I want to touch on, that you just said how you're setting your daughter up for success like that. I never had that, so I didn't know that I was the prize. I thought he was the prize. So I think that's the difference in having a good father figure too. So congratulations, you are doing amazing with it.
Well, kind of. I don't want to get into it, but kind of.
It's not easy.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's super hard.
Course
It's super
is.
hard. Like you're saying, like not having a father figure. It's the same, not the same thing, but like I went through the similar situation with my dad, which like he was there, but the things that were like I was learning from him were not not good, right?
So it's basically like he's not, like, it would have been
He was
better
there,
maybe without.
but not there.
Yeah,
because then you would have just had like a loving mom. Instead, you had like a toxic dad.
Yeah, exactly. So like I learned the entrepreneur stuff, all that stuff from him, and that rubbed off great. But the anger issues and the toxic and the machista shit también se me pegó. So it's like, you should have not showed me. Just show me the entrepreneur stuff.
Exactly.
So what is it like right now? Your day-to-day life, waking up, just do you guys like wake up, have a routine? Like what is your guys' day in life, every day?
Thankfully now we have a son. So we wake up 6:30, 7 a.m. sharp, and we're just like, okay, we gotta get the bread. Like we cannot afford to just sit around, because our son has us on our toes 24/7. So, do you wanna?
If you're thinking about having a kid, 10 out of 10 recommend. Do it. Fuck it. It's the best thing ever. Like having a son for me has been life changing, and I think that like living in Colorado, I'm not being biased. I think Colorado's the best state in the United States. It's got a little bit of everything. But for what we do, it sucks. That's why we're in LA every month. That's why we're in Texas, Florida every month. And it's like, fuck, like a lot of people do say move out here and stuff. But that's the only thing I would say, you know, our work, it's like basically like, I feel like when we're not here, we're calling out of work, if that makes sense. So pretend like you have your job, ladies, fellas, you're listening to this, and you call in once a week. And that's how I feel like us not living here. We, you know, she gets invited to events, or there's little things that like if we lived in LA, we would have had more connections already, more guests on the podcast, more things. It's like, we moving to Colorado, like living in Colorado it's a difficulty, but it's got its perks, you know. I think it's a much better place to maybe raise a son or buy property or stuff like that, you know. So it's like a double-edged sword. So
yeah, and I feel like it's super calm. I've been there. I went to go visit there. We drove over there, which was not a good idea.
Yeah,
we drove over there, but it's really calm, and it's really I want to visit in winter.
oh definitely.
I went when it was like that season of like I remember that we're on our way to the mountains or to some hills and stuff. And it was cold. No, it was sunny. It was sunny outside. And I was like, gonna just go out with my shirt, like just regular shorts. And they're like, wait, you're not gonna take a sweater? I was like, what the fuck? It's hot. What are you talking about? Bro, we got there and just started pouring like a motherfucker. I was like, what the fuck? It's completely different from Cali.
Yeah.
Like right here, like you'll start seeing it's a little cloudy and it starts raining over there. It just, I don't know.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Is it like that over there?
No, yeah. We have this saying. It's like, if you don't like the weather in Colorado, just wait 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you literally, like you look at our little weather thing during the day and the week, it's night and day sometimes.
Yeah.
We still get snow in May, you know? So you can leave your house and by the time you get home,
It's snowing.
you can't see. Like there's a blizzard on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. Keeps us on our toes. We get seasons, you know. Here, you guys put a freaking stocking on a palm tree and that's Christmas, you know. So that would make you really sad. But on the other way, I'm trying to lose weight during the winter, stay in shape, and I see Mando over here at the beach in December, and I'm over here. I can't even work out in my garage because it's freezing, you know, or I can't get to my gym because the roads are too bad. So it's like you pick and choose. You know?
Yeah. So let's talk about you mentioned your baby. How old is he right now?
He's 15 months.
15 months old, really like new.
Yeah.
How your parents, how did they take that? Were they like super excited?
Yes.
Both super excited.
Yes, because we had told them we didn't want to be parents till we were 30. Maybe we wanted to be parents at 30. So when everybody found out that we were pregnant, they were so happy because he's the first baby in a long, long time and probably the first baby in a while, you know, so super happy.
Was he surprised? Was it a surprise for you guys? Or
Yeah.
were you guys
Oh,
actually
hell
crying?
yeah.
Absolute surprise.
It's this guy's fault over here. He was made in Tampa. And it was one of those situations where like, you know, TMI, but we were like, no, for sure I did it, you know? And then no, maybe I was a little tipsy. No. And
Sure enough, we get home. Oh, I'm pregnant. From what trip? Tampa, of course. I'm like, no. And I know, like, I can tell you the day and the time
That's crazy.
and the place.
we remember the exact, like,
The exact day it happened. I'm like, this is because I guess TMI. I
TMI.
know. I'm like, no, literally, I was like TMI, but it's the only time we.
Yeah, when you're on a,
You
like
know?
trips, you don't really.
You don't really?
I think Mando went downstairs to pick DoorDash and Lily was in the bathroom. So ahí lo luego, you know? And we had just gone back from something because we were tipsy, a little bit. Yeah.
I think so. We had just gotten back from
The beach, I
don't
think.
know.
Him watching this when he's 15 years old.
Yeah. So he's a Tampa baby.
Please block it. No, yeah. It was a complete surprise for everybody, even including us. But he came at the perfect time.
Yeah, perfect time.
Well, because you guys are like already mentally, and again, everyone keeps on continuing to work on themselves.
Yes.
But like, I feel that you guys are mentally fucking know what you guys are want and where you guys
Yeah.
stand with your guys' mentality and your guys' vision, goals and stuff. So, like you're saying, perfect time to settle down. Now, bringing in a kid into this world and shit, like obviously the financial and the security and all that. How has social media been working for you guys in that aspect of like as a business owner? Like this podcast is also for entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people that want to dabble into the space. Like, what has been the consistency or the secret for you guys to continue growing on these platforms?
Yeah, that's a good question because we've seen people come and go. We don't want to say we've made it or we're at the top. We're nowhere near close to some of these YouTubers, but we have been here for a while. She has. So I think that like I give her a lot of kudos because, you know, kids will go viral, make a YouTube. Nada, ¿verdad? So I think it's just always remaining like relatable in a sense. Like that's how she popped off, and that's how till this day we still, you know, I still post things on my story about my son or just dad problems, and parents relate immediately. So I feel like that's why they want to stay in tune with you. So people listening out there, entrepreneurs or people starting their YouTube, it's like, don't lose that sense of relatability. Like, dense sus lujos, cómprense sus carros and stuff like that. I'm not going to say don't do it, but like, don't lose that foundation. You know what I mean? That made you.
I also believe that because a lot of people kind of bash on me because I go on business trips. I have my mom watch him while I work. And for a lot of people, they believe I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I'm a stay-at-home working mom. Like I work from home. Thankfully, I'm blessed. And the way that I always say it is just think of me as you. Like you drop your kids off with your parents or with the babysitter. You work from 9 to 5. You go pick them up, and then you're a mom and you have to do mom duties. You know, that is how it is with me, except my mom comes over and I go upstairs to the office. I work, or my mom watches him for 3 days because I have to come out on a business trip. But then we get home and she's off for 3 days because we need to reconnect with our son and my mom needs to rest, you know? So it's like, I don't want to be unrelatable as in, oh, you know, like she's just a stay-at-home mom that's bringing in money. It's like, no, I still work. So I still have to have someone care for my child. You know? Yeah,
it sucks, man. It sucks when, because I work with a lot of YouTubers, and I see the shit that they get for fucking, you guys don't do shit. All you guys do is upload. Like, bro, like I tried it, and I'm a videographer, and I'm the person that's like I consider myself disciplined, and even that, like having to be creative and having to know what topics to bring up and having to know like just. I don't say like, because it's not like even a setup that you guys do or that YouTubers do. It's like how to create content. Where do I go? There's an event we're gonna go to. Like how are we gonna? It's just creatively. You always have to just be on your toes. You know. So it sucks when you guys get a lot of shit for that, because it is really, really hard. It's not easy. Now you're talking about being a mom. Mm-hmm. That's otro pedo. I mean that how stressful is that to you? Mentally when you see comments like that, or when you see that feedback that you're getting, because again, you're going through I would say not the same thing, but like in a way like what you were going through in high school, which is like critiquing you for like things that you're doing but that you believe that are gonna be great for your child. Yeah, it's stressful because sometimes I find myself being like, oh, am I being a bad mom? The one thing that I do is I touch base with the people that know me the best. So I asked Jonathan, I'm like, hey, am I posting him too much? Am I not spending enough time with him? Am I doing this wrong? And another thing is my mom. Like my mom has been a parent to 4 kids already. She knows what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom and then a working mom. So I always tell her, even on trips, I feel so guilty leaving. But my mom's like, you have to go. Like, I would much rather you go and get your work done good instead of you going with Franco, knowing that he's in a stressful scenario because you're trying to get content or you're trying to go to meetings and you don't know where to put him, or it's stressful for Jonathan because maybe there's a meeting where you both have to be in it, but he has to take care of him, you know? So she's like, I am so much more comfortable if you just leave him here with me, knowing that he's fine in his environment. And then you come back and that's it, you know? So I always touch base with her. I'm like, am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? And I'm like, the day that Jonathan and my mom tell me like, hey, te estás pasando, that's when I'm going to be like, okay. And Jonathan, I feel like it's more stressful on him because he knows, I don't know, it's like, for me, I'm like, I know I have to work because the work that I put in is what I get back. So and for him, it's like, damn, babe, like 3 days, that's a lot, you know? So we always try to touch base like, okay, is 3 days a lot? Do we have to go to this event? Do we have to go to this meeting? You know? So sorry to cut you off. So is there like a work-life balance that you guys have right now?
Yeah.
Or is it like full fucking throttle? Let's just go, because it's hard. You guys want to go be successful, obviously, but then you guys have this kid that you guys want to cherish these moments with. So how is that fucking, is that like?
When I was pregnant the last couple of months, we were full fucking force. Let's go. Book a week-long trip to LA. We're gonna work, film so many podcasts, and we worked and traveled so much in the last couple of months that I was pregnant because we knew it was gonna slow down when we had the baby. And that's how it was, huh, babe? We slowed down, but now we have a work-life balance. So now at 5 p.m. or whenever my mom leaves, I tell him, I'm like, hey, put the computer away. Like, we have to reconnect with our son, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy for you to do that, don't you think?
Yeah, and then he goes to sleep, and then I get back on the
Exactly.
laptop, edit, finish, do TikTok, Reels, whatever. But yeah, just it's like full throttle. It's like, have you seen that Hasbullah meme where like he's driving? Imagine us full throttle, but like Franco's right there, like full throttle with him, like in the little, you know, the motorcycles that have the little car,
the little
like
cycle.
that's him. He's in there because he has to come on
glasses
this
and
ride
shit.
because all this is gonna benefit him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you say about businesses, like we know YouTube isn't gonna last forever, so we're trying to make as much money from it as possible to open businesses that don't require maybe social media. I've always wanted to own a restaurant, stuff like that, you know. So that will benefit him. And I truly think if we raise him the right way, we show him enough love, then he'll know that he's like, you know what, my parents aren't here this weekend, but I know it's for a good reason or something like that, you know. So
Yeah. So right now I'm in the situation where like I sometimes think because I hang out with cool people, right? You guys
Yeah.
are cool as fuck. So I'm like, fuck, that must mean that I'm somewhat a
Yeah.
Yes.
cool person, right?
Absolutely.
And my kids are like completely like,
really,
you're not popping, bro. Like, you don't even know-
they be your biggest
They,
haters.
they humble you.
bro. I have a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Oh my
So they're all
gosh.
on their teens.
Yeah.
So
good
they're right
luck,
now
Carly.
they're like, it's cool because I relate to them and I can, you know, talk to them about shit that we're going through. They'll ask me about you guys. I was telling my son he cuts hair. Last night he was cutting my hair. He's like, "Well, why are you getting a haircut for?" It's like not the weekend yet. I was like, "Oh, these guys are gonna come, spill the beans," and they're like, "Spill the beans." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I watch them." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, mom was watching them last time, and I just like watched their video." I was like, "Oh shit!" So it's like, you guys. He's more of a fan of you guys than his own fucking dad, like,
Yeah,
bro.
that's how it is, though.
It is because even with his brothers and my sisters, they're teenagers too. My sister could care less about me, but say I put on another YouTuber that's my friend, she's like, "Oh my god, you're gonna go see them, say hi to them," and I'm like, "Wait, but I want to spend time with you," but they don't think we're cool. You know, they're like, "No, hell no, like don't talk to me." So I understand where.
No,
that's
and I
coming
bring it
from.
up because like you're saying, like you want to show your kid like that you know the success that you guys are having, or not the success you're having, but like the path, or like you know lay the blueprint out for him. But it sucks because sometimes we'll do that and it's like
That's true.
they don't give a shit about anything we're doing, and that's
Honestly.
really what I'm going through right now. But I hope you guys like make that happen because
Wait,
Hopefully.
that is so crazy to think about because I'm thinking about now. Obviously, we hang out like you said with cool people like you, and then I'm like, in 10 years, we're gonna be like, yeah, like we were out there filming podcasts, and he's gonna be like, who are they?
Well-
like we're gonna be so irrelevant when he's like 10, 14.
Yeah, when my brothers talk about like the new soccer players instead of Messi and stuff, they're like, "Oh, Mbappe's the GOAT" or whatever, and I'm like, dude, I just want to slap him. But it's just like generations, you know, like it's whatever.
yeah, I mean, some people like Justin Bieber, some people like, you know, Snoop Dogg. I mean, it's just like a totally different thing, you know. It's just not the same thing. So, like, to close off, I wanna bring value to entrepreneurs, or I want to bring value to people that hustle, that have discipline. What keeps you guys going besides the baby? Because I know that's obviously a big factor, but there has to be something that keeps on pushing you guys. You know, is there dreams? Is there like you're saying your mom goal? Like what keeps you guys pushing? Because there is a lot of negativity out there in terms of social media, which I don't really want to bring up because every time we bring it up, it's like we're feeding it. You know?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of negativity out in the world, and it's hard. Like, you know, you guys been through it where it's like people talk shit and people are negative, people don't believe, but you have to overcome that and believe in yourself, right? But what is something that continues to push you or pull you to continue your guys' success?
Honestly, as we mature, it shifts, right? Your goals, your dreams and stuff. And I used to be very Lamborghini. Like I had like a horse blinders on and all I could see was that black matted out Lamborghini with black rims, you know, and eating at like that. I was like, I want to be rich for that. And then it started shifting, you know. I was like, I won't buy my Lamborghini until I buy my mom a house or my parent or my family, her family. And then right now I'm like, fuck the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini is out the window. I want to build fucking schools in Mexico, fountains, get clean water to everyone, help even the homeless guy down my street. Like now it's that, like all this money that I want to make. Yes, I'm still being very ¿cómo se dice? Materialistic. I want all the money in the world, but it's to help like as many people as I can. Right. And it stresses me out when I see celebrities, YouTubers. I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, like that cost you how much? Like you could have helped how many people with that? But at the end of the day, it's their money. They made it however they, you know, props to them. But that's what fuels me. Just, I don't know, like helping people, like getting a, like when you, my favorite thing, it's like a guilty pleasure I have. I don't know why. I love to imagine people's reactions even though I'm not there. So say we'll pay for someone's, like we'll be at breakfast and we'll pay for someone's food. We don't wait till they say thank you. We'll tell the server and then we'll leave. And then we'll never see the reaction of the table we paid for, whether they be viejitos or family or whatever. And I just like to imagine maybe them being like shocked, like, who paid for it? Yeah, the family. Yeah. And that I just me quedo con eso and it makes me so happy. There's other people that might pay and then they se quedan ahí hasta like, wait, it was me, you know, like, or they record. I'm like, no, I tell, as soon as we leave the tip, vámonos. Yeah. And then at home or like what I like to think that like maybe we made their day or maybe, you know, they smiled or something. So like that brings me, it's like, what's that when you're like addicted to drugs? Like dopamine?
Yeah.
Helping people like that. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's knowing that nobody's going to give you what you want. Like, nobody's going to hand it to you. You know, just growing up, knowing all the hardships we went through, I was like, I would dream of someone just coming and being like, here's this money to cover the rent. Like, you're fine, you know? And it's like, now I'm like, nobody's going to give it to you. So the work that you put in is what you get back. If I upload 10 videos a month, I'm going to see what it's like, what's it called? The
fruits? Like the la cosecha.
The comeback of it, you know, like if I upload 10 videos, it's going to be good. If I upload one video a month, I'm like, oh shit, you know, like I got to work more. So it's like knowing that nobody's going to hand it to you. So nobody's going to be like, I'll retire your mom for you. You know, I had to work to retire my mom. So it's just knowing that nobody's going to hand it to you and knowing that you can get what you want if you really set your mind for it.
Yeah. Do you guys ever have mental blocks, like mind blocks, like in terms of like work and stuff? Because a lot of people struggle with that too. Like you'll be on a roll, and then you'll hit this fucking wall. Like I don't do shit. Like, does that happen to you guys too? And then how do you guys overcome that?
It's the fact that we live in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, if we're
when we're back home, we're like, oh my God, like how many more morning routines can I do of the same thing, you know? And then we have thankfully a trip comes up to LA. We get here and we're like, oh shit, like we get so motivated. So yeah, I think coming to LA gives us the motivation back and the inspiration.
Yeah, I always like, kind of like, a mí me regañan because I'm not sometimes posting a lot, but yo también regaño like my friends that live here in LA. I'm like, you guys only hang out when we come. Like when we're all together for an event. I was like, if I lived in LA, fuck it, ordering 100 pizzas to Perón Noche's house, making content, you know what I mean? Like hiding behind a bush, freaking spray painting Jorge's car. Yeah. Like if we lived and we had like, you know, a community. I was like, you guys like are here with each other and you guys don't, you know, and we're in Colorado stuck in the blizzard, you know, like shaking. And it's like that, you lose so much motivation. But that's why these trips really work. Or like, or when we go to Vegas, maybe for fun or stuff. Like, I don't go to Vegas to gamble, to party, to smoke. No, I go to Vegas to look at the casinos, like the architecture, the Lamborghinis, to build inspire me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You guys, it sounds like you guys really want to come to LA, but don't want to come to LA. Like, is there any plans to come, like moving to LA at least for like a year or two?
We've been looking at freaking houses lately, and
just, you know.
A lot of people think, they say your life ends when you have a baby or it gets restricted. Nah, your life ends when you have freaking dogs. So think about that. Ahorita Franco, or baby, we can take him with us wherever.
Everywhere.
Can we take 2 big ass golden doodles wherever, you know? Like some houses don't allow dogs, or like, do they have enough yard space, or like, fuck, like who's going to take care of them while we go to an event? Like her mom usually takes care of the baby and the dog. So it's like,
that's nuts, bro. Like I have a husky, white husky. And you're talking about you guys are coming from over there, like a different state. I go to a fucking family party and I'm like, all right, bro, I'll be back. Just chill the fuck out. Fucking like at 8:00, there's a ring on my fucking doorbell. Some lady's like, hey, your dog took off. I got him right here. It's like, it's so hard to you know, and you guys have them all the way over there. Yeah. So it's like, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah, definitely dogs are harder to
to accommodate.
Yeah, to accommodate. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we have Franco, we have a real life baby now, but they are our babies. Like there was this time we were like genuinely serious about moving to Tampa before Franco, and the only reason, one of the biggest reasons we didn't, was because a fucking alligator trying to eat our dogs. Like since they're everywhere, I'm like, I do not even want to risk that. Like them being in the yard and then those fuckers, they sneak up. So that it's like, now imagine
Not an
LA.
alligator.
I was like, now imagine LA, you know, like, I don't know, leaving them in a backyard. And it's like, I know LA's not that ghetto, but
Yeah.
like, it scares me that se los roben or something. Like, I can leave the door wide open in Colorado, in our little town, my car unlocked, anything, a stack of money in the front door, and nothing will ever happen.
Yeah.
Here, even with my dogs, I'm scared, you know? So.
Yeah, it's different.
It's the fear of letting all that comfortability go, because we'll get home to like 10 packages at our front door and they're still there. They've been there for a week. And here I'm like,
No, hell no.
you can't even
Sure.
leave your car unlocked, you know, because even if you don't have anything, whatever you have in there, it's gone. So it's that, and leaving our family and
Taxes. The state of California, like over there, all my neighbors, I'm sure, you know, they got something on them. So that's why everyone's comfortable.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
here, like, I've heard stories where the guy breaks into your house and the guy that broke in ends up with a better court case or whatever because he got hurt or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Cali has some whack rules sometimes, so
Yeah.
that's what scares us. You know?
Yeah, no, business wise too, taxes and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's like kind of like downfalls and stuff.
yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you guys being here, man. It was such a fucking good time. Like I'm happy that I don't do research because I genuinely get to know who you
Yeah.
guys are, and I really didn't know your story. I know who you are, obviously, but I didn't want to tap in your guys' story. I wanted to make sure that I kind of, if someone that's new that's watching, you know, got to know you guys
yeah,
at the same
for sure.
time, you know. But thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys have fun this weekend. I know you guys are gonna turn up.
Yeah.
Last time you couldn't be in Adriana's wedding, so now.
I know. Now I'm a turn up.
Yeah,
No,
now-
but
Yeah.
thank you for having us. We are so
First podcast
honored.
ever.
Yes.
First podcast.
Like
That's a guest.
as
Yeah.
a guest, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
We've never been on any other podcast, so
Oh damn.
You're
if
the
we were nervous,
Wait,
if I was
me?
shaking, blinking,
I've been on a podcast.
oh, you've been
Yeah,
on that
I filmed
Together.
the
I'm like,
house.
yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
together, this is the first Spill the Beans podcast on another. So thank you so much for having
Yeah.
us. We are
Thank you guys.
honored, and this is so fun.
Well, thank you guys. I'm gonna leave their links down below. Make sure you guys go follow all their social media platforms. I'm gonna leave mine as well. So I'll see you guys in the next video.
Later.
Yeah, bye.
Shush, cut.
Cut the cameras.